Very good evening to you and welcome to TV47 Weekend. I trust that you had a beautiful Saturday. Two topics just for you. Tonight, government downplays Azimio's move to collect signatures to initiate the president's impeachment.
There is no constitutional provision for anybody to collect signatures against a sitting president. They are just wasting their time.
Saying it is an exercise in futility.
Hakuna taifa ambalo linaweza kuenda mbele bila wenyeji wa taifa hilo kulipa ushuru.
Also tonight, former Chief Justice William Mutunga among activists tear-gassed at the Central Police Station as they tried to secure the release of fellow activists arrested in Friday's protest.
From our side, we are extremely disappointed by this action of police, which is coming 60 years after independence, which is coming 30 years after multipartyism, which is coming 13 years after the adoption of the new constitution.
Saa hizi bado tunajaribu kushinikiza polisi wawachilie waandamanaji. Wakikataa tutaendelea kuwashinikiza zaidi mpaka watolewe.
Plus, we tell you how digitization of health service could assist with waiting time.
In fact, Kenya is well known for milestone developments like M-Pesa. Why can't we put that kind of knowledge and energy also in the healthcare sector? We manage our money so well with state-of-the-art banking systems. Why can't we also give it a shot in healthcare?
But how many Kenyans will benefit? Renyama is on the sign language docket. I'm used to Lee Stanley. Yeringeta, welcome to the bulletin. You can always talk to us on our socials. Now, as the Azimio Brigade prepare for the return of their weekly protests to demand the lowering of the cost of living, Kenya Kwanza legislators have hinted at the push to amend the Public Order Act, thereby limiting the rights to picket. This coming on a day the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, KNCHR, has called for probe into the reported cases of police brutality across the country during the Sabasaba demonstrations. Have a look. Saturday morning, running battles were witnessed at the Central Police Station as police lobbed tear gas to disperse a section of activists, among them former Chief Justice William Mutunga, who had converged to follow up on the status of the release of the 75 protesters who had been allegedly arrested Friday. The persistence of the protesters and family members who had come to the police station from Friday evening turned to be the straw that broke the camel's back, with the police intent on chasing them away. But according to the human rights defenders, the arrests were unconstitutional.
We have just come from the meeting with the DCIO, with our legal team, and he was telling us that so far they have been able to process 26 of them, and then the rest have to be processed in the course of the day.
Saa hizi bado tunajaribu kushinikiza polisi wawachilie waandamanaji. Wakikataa tutaendelea kuwashinikiza zaidi mpaka watolewe.
This even as the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights has called for probe into the reported cases of police brutality across the country. According to the Commission, the government should create an environment to allow people exercise their rights to demonstrate as stipulated in Article 37.
The denial of bail and bond to individuals who were arrested during demonstrations is unconstitutional, and Kenya National Commission on Human Rights calls on the National Police to ensure that bail processes are conducted fairly.
However, the freedoms of Kenyans to picket now hang in the balance, with a section of Kenya Kwanza legislators stating that the constitution should be changed to limit these freedoms.
In fact, what I propose that in future, and we are looking the possibility of amendment of a Public Order Act, to amend the Public Order Act to create what we call demonstration corners. Like in Nairobi, we can designate bombers of Kenya. They go and demonstrate the whole day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei's remarks coming a day after Azimio leader Raila Odinga announced the return of the weekly protests, which will resume next week Wednesday. Cherargei has also called for the arrest of the former premier, a move that many await to see its fruition. And elsewhere, National Assembly Chief Whip Sylvanus Osoro has dismissed claims of bribing Azimio members of parliament with what he termed as a bowl of pumpkin soup, which he alleged them a way to defeat the opposition in the vote on the Finance Bill 2023. On Friday, Osoro revealed the dirty and unethical tricks he used to woo his Azimio counterparts, including twisting the opposition through bribery, which resulted in the ruling party being forced to pass the government's controversial finance bill. Got a numerical advantage in the parliament. Now Azimio members have threatened to sue Osoro for what they term as setting them against the voters should he fail to produce the list of those who were bribed.
Wabunge wa opposition, na nilisema kwa Kikisii ati nilinunua wabunge wa opposition, serikali ilinunua wabunge wa opposition wakapigia finance bill. Mimi niliongea kwa Kikisii, nyinyi mlisikia wapi? Haya, na ile kitu nilisema ni kawaida. Nilisema ya kwamba wabunge tulikuwa na wao kule bungeni, tukakunywa soup kwa Kikisii. Baada ya kukunywa soup, tangu siku gani jina soup iligeuka ikakuwa pesa? Mimi ni soup. Mimi ndio nasimamia catering ya wao wabunge wote kwa catering committee kule bungeni. Na nilisema tu niliita wabunge wa opposition, nikawaweka kwa catering hapo kwa jikoni, mahali kuna mess yetu. Nikanunua supu tukakunywa supu ya malenge, supu ya... Sasa nyinyi mkaenda mkageuza mkasema nilisema supu ni inamaanisha pesa. Waacheni unafiki bwana. Wabunge wanakunywa supu pia ama namna gani? Mwache serikali hii kutumia hata ndururu kuconvince wabunge wa Azimio kupiga kura. Ni wao walikosa tu bungeni. Mwenye aliamua kukosa bungeni alikosa. Mwenye aliamua kupatikana bungeni alipatikana na akahesabiwa. Hata mmoja wenu hapa West Pokot nilimuona kule, alienda akasema I vote no, akasema no, sawa. Siku ya tatu akakosa. Sio mimi sasa, mimi naweza nunua huyo jamaa, sinaona sikia kuna ndege. Sasa ni supu peke yake ndio nilipea. Hiyo siku ya mwisho alikosa, hakuonekana bungeni. Sasa huwezi sema mimi nilimpea pesa ndiye akakosa bungeni. Yeye sinasikia ako na ndege. Sasa nilimnunua namna gani? Watu waache kuharibia wabunge jina, na pia waache kuharibia serikali ya Kenya jina. Wabunge waliagree kwa kichwa yao wakapigia bill, na wenye waliipinga, na saa hii iko kotini itaamua. Tukue tu democratic.
Some matters bowl of pumpkin soup. The Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentist Union, KMPDU, are calling for salary increment and review of the collective bargaining agreement 2016, citing taxes that will affect the pay with the implementation of the Finance Act 2023. They have announced a draft of measures for the coming weeks in counties as they strive to get pay rise for their union members.
The implementation of the Finance Act 2023 continues to elicit mixed reactions from different sectors in the country. Today, medics joined the bandwagon decrying its effects on their salaries.
Hiyo finance bill itafanya kila daktari katika nchi 52% ya mshahara yake ikuwe kama tax. Na pia tumeona kwa kunayo increase katika bei za bidhaa. Bei ya fuel, bei ya mafuta, bei ya kila kitu, na bei ya unga. Na tunajua mshahara ya madaktari uliongezwa mwisho mwaka wa 2016.
Even as the union notes their frustration on the impending tax cuts with the Finance Act implementation, KMPDU is also decrying the state of health sector in the counties.
It's now over 8 months since we did the August 2022 elections. We had hopes in the county governors, we had hopes with the government that there will be change based on the promises that they gave in the manifesto.
According to the union, some healthcare workers on contract terms in counties have received pay cuts, with others having their salaries stopped unceremoniously.
Counties like Nakuru have signed contracts that are not befitting the healthcare workers, are not befitting doctors after signing CBA. And we rebuke and say that that is shameful for the county.
The medics' demands now come with a raft of measures in their bid to have their grievances heard. In Kenyatta National Hospital, for instance, the medics say they will be issuing a strike notice of 2 weeks over what they term as discrimination of doctors, while in Machakos County, a 7-day strike notice has already been issued. In Busia and Kakamega counties, a go-slow is looming. Implementation of the 2017-2021 collective bargaining agreement between the government and the union has been the subject of constant strike threat over its delay.
The last time that doctors had a change in their salary was in 2016. It's been 7 years. And today we can confidently say that more than 40% of our salary has reduced, based on the cost of commodities in 2016 and today.
They want the government to review it, even as the 2021-2025 CBA negotiations are set to commence.
All right, let's talk politics now. And Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has dismissed the opposition's push to remove President William Ruto from power using signatures. Gachagua, speaking in Nyeri County, said there is no provision in the constitution that allows the removal of a president using signatures. And as Apollo Kumar reports, the removal of a president can only be done through an impeachment or on the grounds of mental and physical capacity.
Azimio's Kamukunji declaration to collect 10 million signatures in the opposition's renewed onslaught to remove President William Ruto from power has raised questions on how exactly the opposition intends to remove President William Ruto from power through signatures. The Kenya Kwanza Brigade, led by Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, dismissing the opposition's push as a futile exercise, given it's not recognized by the 2010 Constitution.
We want to ask them. They are saying that they can remove President William Ruto from office. They were unable to stop him from becoming president when they had power, the system, and the deep state. How do they intend to go about it when they are outside there in the wilderness? How can they stop him? So we want to tell the people of Kenya, there is no constitutional provision for anybody to collect signatures against a sitting president. They are just wasting their time.
According to Section 144 and 145 of the Constitution, the president can only be removed through a motion of impeachment and incapacity where Parliament's numerical strength plays a central role. Section 145 of the Constitution says a member of the National Assembly, supported by at least 2/3 of all the members, may move a motion of impeachment on grounds of gross violation of the Constitution, the president committing a crime, and gross misconduct. If 2/3 of the MPs vote in the affirmative, the president will be impeached, a Herculean task given Kenya Kwanza's dominance in the two houses of parliament.
Raila Odinga was somebody's project, and it failed miserably. Even those demonstrations, they have been planned and financed by the project owners.
Section 144 of the Constitution also allows an MP to move a motion for the president's removal on grounds of mental and physical capacity. The Speaker is then supposed to communicate the resolution to the Chief Justice. Eventually, the decision of a tribunal formed by the Chief Justice to remove the president will have to be voted on by the MPs.
Tunasambia kama nguvu ya Azimio sio wabunge. Nguvu ya Azimio ni wananchi wenyewe.
Azimio coalition leader Raila Odinga, who spoke after Sabasaba protests, hinted they could use the referendum route, which is also problematic given it's not in the law, and also the new IEBC is yet to be formed after the exit of the Wafula Chebukati-led commission.
Sasa mtu anasema nitaenda kucollect sahihi milioni 10 alafu nitapeleka kwa parallel IEBC. Parallel. Sheria ya Kenya inatambua one IEBC.
Azimio's legal team has maintained a studious silence on how the process will be undertaken and how it will achieve the push to remove Ruto from power. Apol Kamau, TV 47.
Much appreciated for that, Apollo Kamau. Now, to matter security, tension is at an all-time high in Elgeyo Marakwet County after one suspected bandit is alleged to have been rescued after he was arrested by police officers in connection to the most recent attack, where one person was shot dead with 2 others injured after suspected bandits ambushed them Thursday in Terren village. Security officers were forced to hold a meeting with the locals to avoid retaliatory attacks. As Paul Kirobi reports, locals have already castigated police officers for arresting and releasing suspected bandits.
In Elgeyo Marakwet County, tension is still very high following the alleged release of a suspected bandit who is said to have been linked to the recent attacks in the region and causing sleepless night among residents in the area. On Thursday, one person was killed and 2 others injured after suspected armed bandits attacked them while they were on their way home. The angry locals have protested and faulted the government for failing to arrest the suspect who are roaming freely in the area, issuing threats to those dares them.
Na kweli tumeona ukaiti imekuwa sasa ya juu zaidi, na tunaomba kweli hata masomo sahihi, watoto kutembea hata kwa njia hakuna, hata kutuma watoto waende kwa njia hakuna.
However, Baringo County Commissioner Stephen Kutuo said that the government will take precise action and act to ensure the criminal who was involved is brought to the book.
Tukiweka kituo cha usalama hapa Kinyachi, ambaye ni senta ya jamii 3, kitaweza kutusaidia kuona kwamba wale ambaye wanaingia katika jamii hizi hapa na pale kutusaidia kutusumbua na kuleta mizozo wameweza kuchukulia hatua.
Baringo North Member of Parliament Joseph Makilap urged the people of Baringo North to keep peace, but at the same time he challenged the government to ensure that Kerio killings comes to an end.
Na chiefs na security ni ile team ilikuwa inaongozwa na kijana moja ambaye kwa sababu ya usalama tumepatia jina, na hiyo timu yake ya watu 5. Tumeambia serikali mkono yenu ni mrefu, au tuambie leo mkono imekatwa imekuwa fupi.
The Thursday night incident forced security team from both Elgeyo Marakwet and Baringo to hold a crisis meeting with the locals to avoid retaliatory attack. After 3 months of relative calm in Kerio Valley, bandits seems to have woke up again and carry out their retaliatory attacks despite government's effort to calm the insecurity in the region. The recent tension comes despite concerted effort by the government to deal with bandits in Kerio region. Paul Kirobi, TV47.
Thank you very much, Paul Kirobi. Now, let me take you to the coast region to have a taste of some real Swahili. Celebrations to recognize the Swahili language continue in the coastal region, where it originated 3,000 years ago. The Swahili community on Saturday organized cultural exhibitions as well as participating in henna competition, cooking and sports competitions. Swahili, as the mother language, has gained fame. Now, we'll have this particular story after this short break. Don't go too far.
Let's go shopping with Lotto. Ulisikiaje Lotto wapi?
Lotto nimekuwa nikicheki kwa TV, kwa print, mcheki kwa online obvious, nasikia watu wanashinda. So I was very skeptical, but nikasema hii time wacha ni try.
Usha shopping kama iko maisha?
Siwezi kumbuka.
Ni nini unaweza ambia Wakenya hakuhusu mchezo sawa?
Naweza ambia Lotto ni ukweli. Wase wanashinda Lotto. Yeah, it's real.
Gaming can be addictive. Play responsibly. This message has been approved by the BCLB.
All right. right, asante sana for sticking around. And speaking of matters Swahili, celebrations to recognize the Swahili language continue in the coastal region where it originated 3,000 years ago. The Swahili community on Saturday organized a cultural exhibition as well as participating in henna competition, cooking and sports competitions. Swahili, as their mother language, has gained fame as a national language in Kenya and several other countries in Africa. This is despite the challenges faced in preserving their diverse culture, following contact with Western cultures.
The Swahili community prides itself in the popularity of their tongue, which gains traction every day in Africa and across the globe, prompting the UN to set aside the 7th of July as a special day to celebrate the language that has been touted as one that could unite the world. Swahili words such as Hakuna Matata and Jambo has made Swahili even more famous.
Kiswahili ndo lugha ambayo tumezaliwa nayo na ni lugha tamu moja ulimwenguni ambao kwamba watu wote nje wanapigania wapate kujua Kiswahili.
From their way of dressing to their songs, decorations, drawings, natural medicines, and food, among others, were displayed outside the Fort Jesus on Saturday to remember, embrace, and even educate each other about their origin.
Utamaduni wetu huwa tuna variety of food ambao vimeanza kuanzia mababu wetu na manyanya wetu kutoka na kitambo. Tuna sambusas, tuna makababu, tuna mkato wa mayai ambao umeanza kuanzia manyanya zetu na babu zetu kutengeneza.
Tulikuwa hatuna mahospitali, tulikuwa tukitumia tiba za kiasili, na siku hii ni muhimu kwetu kuweza kuienzi.
The young participated in different activities by Swahili culture, including football and swimming competitions.
Foundation ya Kiswahili tuliokuwa nao tunkuja hapa ili kuelimisha kwamba pia wasichana wanaweza kucheza.
Swahili pia imechangia katika chanzo kikubwa chetu, pia inatusaidia katika mazungumzo, kuashiria watu wenzetu hapa.
Kama mfano mwenzako ameshika mpira naambia nyaka vizuri, nyaka vizuri.
The elderly too competed in crushing the grain using their old methods, while the young mothers participated in applying henna. Henna is used as temporary tattoos, in particular for decorating hands and feet. Drawings in Swahili society was important as it is today, despite trends as a result of technology.
Tambo kulikuwa na kuchora ukutani, sakafu ilikuwa inatengenezwa patterns nini. Kwa hivyo uchoraji umekuwa kila mahali. Acha nikuibie siri, ukija kwa Kiswahili kuna ile bei fulani utapata na ni yako tu. Na ukija na lugha tofauti, jua tu pia utapatana na bei ya lugha tofauti.
However, this community feels that their culture and language are endangered as many of their youth might be influenced by the Western culture, way of dressing, food or music.
Na kweli kila mtu amebadilika, wamesahau, walokwenda Ulaya, walokwenda Amerika, walokwenda kila mahali, kila mtu anasahau karne za zamani vile zilikuwa.
They have called upon parents to nurture their future generations within their culture. Paul Munio, TV 47, Mombasa.
Thank you for that, Abdallah Munio. Now, to matters health. As the government intensifies plans to digitize health services in the country, some software engineers and IT gurus already have the technology up and running for 5 years now. Although only private and faith-based facilities have embraced the technology, thereby leaving out public facilities that tend to a large number of patients. But just how does this technology work? And how does it help improve the provision of healthcare in the enrolled facilities? Elizabeth Atino takes us through this journey.
Kingangi Gitao and Kenneth Njeru are software engineers and founders of Clinical Data Management Solutions, CDMS, and Africa Afya Healthcare Solutions, respectively. The CDMS is a software that makes it easier for doctors to access the patient's medical history and offer the right form of treatment.
We've tried to keep the system as simple as possible. One of the problems I noticed with the systems out there is the clutter, the screen clutter. I also noticed that medics don't like too much technology and clutter on with their work.
This is how the technology works. Let's say patient X, who we shall call Nyokabi, visits a health facility that has adopted the CDMS technology. A doctor will use his username and password, normally encrypted, to log into the platform. Thereafter, Nyokabi will fill in some of the information needed to come up with her patient database, which will help in future diagnosis.
I'm running a hospital. The people I create here are the ones allowed to see that data. Not anyone else can see it. And their passwords are encrypted, the data is encrypted. No one outside the domain can see the data. By the time you're inside the domain, you're a worker of the facility, you have permission to see records. So the management have to agree to be sharing data. So if they have agreed, then there's no problem. So it starts with the management. They have to agree to share information.
Let's say Nyokabi is currently seeking treatment in a facility around Nairobi. Then she falls ill a few weeks later in a different county, for instance, Kisumu. The doctor in Kisumu will also be able to access Nyokabi's medical history as long as the facility is connected to the CDMS platform.
If we knew the ailments our grandfathers used to suffer from, maybe we would do things a bit better. So you can imagine several years ahead, if we've collected this data and it's accessible, you have kids, you have grandkids, you can track.
All patients whose data is currently in the CDMS system are able to register for hospital admission and secure a bed in the facility.
Other departments like admissions for inpatient are available. Over here, we can even manage the beds, the wards. I cannot assign a bed to a person when it's occupied. If I try to choose it for an admission, it will be grayed out. It won't be available.
And after the patient is through with admission, the accumulative hospital bill will automatically reflect in the CDMS database while issuing different forms of payment like M-Pesa, manual, or insurance. The software also has an inventory management system that helps prevent cases of theft of medicines in the facility, as the management is able to keep a stock check on the number of drugs delivered and those remaining.
This is to prevent theft, because everyone signs in every step. Their ID is recorded against their action. There's an audit table in the background. I can pull it up if I suspect fraud to track down the medication. Obviously, in healthcare, people die. So when somebody has demised, you record that. You end the care. There's a care ended part. You record the reason the care has ended. Have they passed on? Have they traveled to another country? Have they healed?
Currently, Kenya has not more than 150 radiologists. This clearly shows the backlog being witnessed in the MRI, X-ray, and CT scans. But Kenneth Njeru now explains how Africa Afya Healthcare has come up with the technology through partnership with DataMate and Expert Eye Teleradiology.
Say you need an MRI, you go to Nairobi Hospital, and they do not have a radiologist. So they do your MRI, and it's transmitted to the database simultaneously once it's done, and then the radiologist who has access to that platform can view the image, can interpret the image, and our platform has several tools for even measurements, since you find some of these things really are a matter of millimeters, so they can measure and see what's wrong and make a diagnosis and write a report and send it back. And that helps in the accuracy of their reports.
The 30th of June this year, the government launched the e-Citizen platform that will make over 500 government services, including health, available online. But unfortunately, only private facilities have embraced the CDMS technology. The founders say reaching out to public health facilities is still an uphill task.
We are aware that working with the government is a hard task, straight off from getting that tender and getting paid for that tender.
Elizabeth Atieno, TV47, Nairobi.
That Elizabeth Atieno, definitely a light and something that you really learn into the wonderful world of sports. Shabana FC was Saturday afternoon crowned as the champions of the 2022-2023 National Super League champions after defeating Kisumu All-Stars 2-0 in their match 38 tie of the league at the Gusii Stadium. The title race had intensified, with Murang'a still targeting to lift the title. However, Shabana remained resilient atop the league's standings to finish strongly on 70 points. The intense match saw prolific striker Nehemiah Oncheri scoring a brace for Shabana FC in the second half to help Sami Okoth's side win the match and lift the trophy. Elsewhere, Muranga still played out to a 2-2 draw with Gusii FC at the Awendo Green Stadium to finish second on 68 points. Some rugby action. KCB RFC Saturday afternoon qualified into the quarterfinals of the second leg of the National Sevens Circuit, the Driftwood Sevens Rugby Tournament, after winning its respective matches at the Mombasa Sports Club. The Bunkers started the day strongly after defeating Nondescripts 22-0 before thrashing Kenyatta University's Blackblood 45-5 in the second fixture of the day. KCB eased past Nakuru RFC in the afternoon clash with a scores of 17-5 to qualify into the quarterfinals. Speaking after the match, KCB RFC assistant coach Dennis Mwonja stated that the team is motivated to win all their matches, adding that they are taking one match at a time, however, going full throttle for the victory.
I would say the team has really performed well. We gelled well. We are just continuing on the momentum we built last week, and we are happy with that. Enough of day one. Now we focus for the knockout first tomorrow. Our work is cut out. We've already done all that we need to do during the week, so it's like going for an exam. We are waiting for the next paper, and we are anticipating, because on the knockout phase it's unforgiving, whereby we are looking at hitting our targets. We just play a game at a time as we look at making it to the next level, retaining, getting to the finals, and also winning the cup, but we take a game at a time. The self-belief is really important, the character as well, because the players have that drive, which is intrinsic. So we don't need to push them to get the results. They already believe and they want it more.
And on the track, Standard Chartered Bank Saturday morning unveiled the 20th edition of the Standard Chartered Marathon at the Huru Gardens that aim to improve the state of Kenyan sports by nurturing talented youth at the grassroots. The marathon, slated to be held on the 29th of October this year, will have 6 categories, including the 42-kilometer race, the 21-kilometer, 10-kilometer, 21 wheelchair category, and the 5-kilometer races, with 25,000 people already registering to take part in the event. Speaking during the unveiling ceremony of the race, Athletics Kenya President Jackson Tway congratulated Standard Chartered Bank for its efforts in improving the state of athletics in the country, adding that the event will go a long way in providing the underprivileged youth a platform to showcase their talent.
Marathon started in 2003, and to date it's the biggest sporting event in Nairobi. It's IAF accredited, and we're really proud to be hosting elite runners who use this marathon as a springboard to launch their international careers. We've raised over 750 million shillings towards the marathon, and this proceeds goes towards future makers, where we empower the next generation to learn, earn, and grow.
How do we help people learn and grow? Focusing on the youth, and especially women as well. That's why we're channeling the funds. That is very something that we really want to continue making a difference to people's lives.
And I would like to urge other cities in Kenya, Mombasa, Kisumu, Eldoret, Nyeri. We need to have more marathons out there, because at the moment, as you are all aware, Kenyan athletes hold both world records, both for male and female. They hold